Happy Monday. It's another edition of Your Monday Motivation with Chad Levine, the superstar Lenda. Um, and we are on the Superstars Network. Please pay attention to us on YouTube at Superstar Network. And when the new website launches, we will let you know about that drop. We're working on it. It's a 2024 item to work on. So Mondays, guys, everyone literally gets knee deep in it super fast. I am guilty of it. Um I am so guilty, I guess is the word, of just going through the motions and not paying attention and just getting in there. And I feel like I'm drowning most Mondays. I'm not gonna lie. I really do. I feel like it's just so much work, so much to catch up on, so much follow up, only so much sunlight in the day before other things come into play, especially if you wear multiple hats like I do, husband, father. You can only be working for so many hours and you have to switch hats. So pausing to get some motivation on a Monday is crucial. I think it's critical because it helps you understand your why, push through any adversity, any lulls in your day, anything that you may find or bottoming out. It's important to do this stuff. So it's therapeutic for me to be here with you guys. Hopefully you enjoy it. As discussed last week, I'm going to try and go back to a format that I used to do where we discuss a quote, a motivational quote. You won't see it because my background faded out, but it looks something like this. A motivational quote that I'm going to talk about with you guys and then dissect it and then talk about how it's applicable to today. For those of you that are Eagles fans, I'm a Philadelphia guy. So last night was a pretty tough loss. So I wanted to find a quote or a thought that was pertinent to what I'm feeling today, which is usually what it is. So I've been reading a book called Master Mentors. It's about a podcast, the Franklin Covey podcast, which is a podcast on leadership that you can probably listen to and subscribe on all the platforms. It's a pretty big podcast. And what they do is they'll interview different thought leaders and spiritual leaders and motivational speakers about all kinds of different topics, and they have this top 30 list, and they put them into a book. So each chapter is a different thought leader and their different thoughts. So I'm going to actually use that for a little while and see if there's anything in there that resonates me. So today's quote, I'll have Jason stick it up there when he gets a minute. Today's quote is by Dr. Susan David, who's a clinical psychologist at Harvard Medical School. And she says something along the lines of, it's human nature to confuse our emotions, opinions, and feelings with facts. So, I would say this is probably the most common thing. It's almost like you can get in that battle with your mind. And before I get in there, what's up, Johnny D? Good morning, man. Before we get into the nitty gritty of this thing, I'm going to have Jason put up my timer so that I'm conscious of, I'll give you your kick in the arse. Don't worry, my man. I'm going to have Jason put up our timer so I make sure I get this in a nice, concise manner for you guys. So we're going to start with that thought. And then when he sticks up the timer, we'll talk a little bit about it. Human nature. Go ahead, Jay. You can run the timer while I'm there or put us side by side. It's human nature to confuse emotions, opinions, and feelings. So let's break this down. When you go through thoughts, right, and you're trying to look at objective versus subjective, what's real, what's not real, what's made up, what's not made up. It's a blurred line. It's a very blurred line because most of your thoughts do come from emotional reactions, right? And it's very hard to decipher, is this real or is it something I'm currently feeling? What Susan David says is, while you need to be conscious of the two, it's a good thing to actually know that two are separate, right? Because you can take either direction. If it's an emotion, it's something you can ride. And if it's a fact, it's something you can act on. And what does that mean? Well, here's what it means. If it's a fact, right, whatever it is, whatever the case is, it's something that you have to act on because it's reality. If it's an emotion, maybe you do, maybe you don't. Maybe you can sit there and say, all right, calm down, relax. It's not that big a deal. Or maybe the opposite. Maybe it's something of elation, feeling good, being super positive, and you want to ride that wave. What Dr. Susan David is saying, and I wholeheartedly believe is that you have to know that there is a difference between the two. And more importantly, you have to be conscious of the fact that there's a difference between the two, right? You have to know there's a difference between an emotion and a fact. You have to know that. And sometimes it takes breathing and sitting back and understanding that to really know what action to take next. And that's really my analysis of this quote and how it relates to me today and what I'm looking at it. I'm a big believer on I run on emotion. I run on feeling. I run on passion. I run on drive. Jay, you can take the timer off. I think I'm done dissecting it. But you know, I'm a big believer that, you know, you have to react and you have to act on things you're feeling. But if you overstep or you don't have the fact in front of you, sometimes the fact can be blurred by the emotion. So use the emotion of what you're feeling to cause an action. If you're feeling excited or motivated or positive, right? Use that to fuel the action. But make sure you understand what is factual. Why? Because if you don't, you can go out of bounds. You can go out of bounds a lot. And the out of bounds part is the issue because you become counterproductive. And that's what you don't want. Time is the biggest thing you can waste. It's your most valuable asset. As I get older, I realize that, and I'm sure you guys do too. You don't want to spend time on things that aren't going to be productive. You don't want to spend times on things that aren't going to get you there. And as you get older and as you learn that focus is your superpower and time becomes more valuable, that's what you get good at. I think in my, you know, the way I view things, my perception of it is when you get better at what you do and you become more of an expert, you become more efficient. I think efficiency becomes what, you know, the differentiator between someone who's high level and has experience and successful at what they do and someone that isn't, because they know how to best use their time to get the goals done and to be productive and to make those things happen. That's why emotion and facts become such an important distinction. And what she's saying here is you have to be conscious of that barrier. And I can draw no greater parallel than what's happened with our beloved Philadelphia Eagles, because most recently, I think everyone out there knew, you know, something's not right. They're not playing at the level that I really feel like they should be playing at. But because you were so excited of their record and because of their scoreboard, you didn't care. You kind of blurred the line. You didn't even look at the boundary. You just said, you know what? I'm going to go with the positive instead of looking at the facts. The fact is they may not be that good of a team. They may not be that strong. We'll see. But you have to have that line there and make sure it's in front of you. Otherwise, you're gonna be inefficient with your time, inefficient with your emotion, and not get where you want to be. And that's the purpose of this quote. It really is. It's okay to be emotional, but be conscious of the facts. It's okay to use the emotion to motivate you, but know where the out of bounds is. Know when you're going too far. Know when you're being counterproductive. Know when you're wasting too much time and you're being inefficient. It's so important. It's so important. And it becomes more important when you have less and less time. And when you want to be more productive and more successful and have your numbers grow, you've got to know exactly, this is my cutoff. This is the reality. This is what's going on. Otherwise, you're on that treadmill and there's no exit. You're on that rat reel and you're never getting off of it. And guys, let me tell you, I am as guilty as everyone else is on that. I will literally sit there in the same wheel and go over and over and over again until I realize this is the reality of what's going on. So hopefully that little tidbit helped you today. That's always my goal with your Monday motivation. You know, I want to find ways to alter your way of thinking to help you become more productive, to help you become more successful, and to motivate you to want to do more for yourself. Because I need to do the same. I need to do the same. Taking a minute to get yourself motivated and to listen and to think and go deep will help you tremendously in your weeks ahead. And I'm hoping that's what your Monday motivation does for you. So please pay attention to us on YouTube, like and subscribe us at Superstar Net This is the Superstars Network, where we are producing high levels of content with high functioning, highly successful, and highly productive people. I am Chad Levine, the Superstar Lender. Thank you for watching another edition of Your Monday Motivation. We will see you next week. Peace.